go where I want and I do what I want. My belt match the kicks, don't you go burn 'em.
Empty to the G, man. Who do you think you're gonna be? And I'm back with the best reaction channel on YouTube that couldn't be possible without you too. The title of this video is going to be Young Thug is Free. Criminal lawyer reacts and breakdowns Young Thug's plea deal. Now, before we get in this video, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you're one of my day ones, go ahead and hit that like button and drop a comment like you always do. Now, without wasting any time, let's get into it.
You know, the people who wind up like Mr. Williams are few and far in between. You know, get your, what do I tell you guys? What do I tell every one of you guys?
Stop self.
Build your education, build your financial future, build your relationships with your woman, with your family, with your mom, with your brother, with your sister, and build those relationships. You got people dragging you down. You have to look over your shoulder because you just did something that the police are going to come. Don't be that guy, you know, and idolizing drill and the things that they do in drill and just the whole gangster culture and lifestyle, you know, it isn't safe for you. It just isn't. The prosecutor was asking for 45 years, 25 years in, 20 years on probation, and with all these conditions. But the problem is that you have a situation where just hours earlier, she was willing to give him just probation. How do you square that?
The recommendation that the state previously made prior to us reaching this point was made with the hope that Mr. Williams would agree to certain special conditions of probation that we asked.
He entered into a nolo contendere plea and a non-negotiated plea. What is a non-negotiated plea? That's where you don't have any agreement with the prosecutor except for the things that you're pleading guilty to, and it's an open sentence. So you can ask for whatever you're going to ask for. The prosecution is going to ask for whatever they're going to ask for.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
Who is he? He go crazy.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode. Lawyer. The breaking news is that YSL, or Young Thug, Jeffrey Williams, has taken a deal. Right. He has pled guilty to a bunch of stuff. Say hello to eforms.com, computer development. And she go to eForms because you don't have your, or so make sure you go to CLRBruceRivers.com. Free Williams.
Damn, he getting the ads out the way quick though. He
turned down a deal earlier today with an agreement with the prosecutor that would allow him to be released today with 15 years of probation. This is according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. It would have been, and then so he rejected the deal because he didn't like the conditions of probation. I think it was because he wanted to be able to still associate with some of the people he was making music with. And some of those people, the state was saying are gang members. And so you can't have any contact with gang members. So he rejected that. But in late breaking news, just off the presses, he entered into a nolo contendere plea and a non-negotiated plea. What is a non-negotiated plea? That's where you don't have any agreement with the prosecutor except for the things that you're pleading guilty to, and it's an open sentence. So you can ask for whatever you're going to ask for. The prosecution is going to ask for whatever they're going to ask for. But here's what I don't like about the prosecution in this case. You had a straight plea. On the one hand, they were willing to let you walk free. On the other hand, now they're asking for 40 years, 15 years of probation, 25 years in custody and 20 years probation. So how is it that you, on the one hand, you say, oh, this guy's such a danger, but I'm going to let him go free if he does exactly what I say. Otherwise, we're going to ask for 40 years, 45 years. That's ridiculous. And I think the judge saw through this. So, but this plea comes on the heels of 3 other pleas that went down this week in this case. This week, the judge approved of plea deals for 3 of them. Quamarvius, right? Quamarvius Nichols, 29 years old. Marquavius Huey, 28 years old. And Rodalius Ryan, 18 years old. One of them's already serving a life sentence for murder. And he got 10 years. The other 2 were time served.
Mm.
So one of the things that you look for in sentencing is you wanted to avoid disparities in sentencing. So even though he's at the top of the list, for the indictment, how do you let other people go free and get such lenient sentences? But at the same time, you're asking for 45 years.
Mm.
So these men all face multiple counts of various racketeering and gang-related charges, each potentially carrying a prison sentence of 5 to 20 years. With all of them agreeing to plead guilty to racketeering conspiracy, with Huey also pleading guilty to other reduced charges. They accepted more lenient prison sentences with probation and time served. Ryan, however, will remain in prison on a life sentence for 2019 murder, but his 10-year prison sentence in the RICO case has been commuted to time served. So what does that mean for Thug, for Mr. Williams? Well, he pled guilty to count 1, nolo contendere. That means no contest. It means you don't agree with it. You're not saying that you're guilty, but you're just letting the conviction stand. 20 years, commuted to 5, served 15 on probation, $25,000 fine. Count 2, 5 years consecutive. Count 58. Let's see which is count 7, 8, 50, 9, 60. 61, 62. So basically 6 other counts that related to either firearms or gang-related charges. So let's kind of look and see how the prosecutor came off. So we're not going to, there's 2 parts to a guilty plea. There's the first part is a waiver of your constitutional rights. We're not going to watch that because it's kind of boring. You have the right to a trial, blah, 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 and you waive all your cases. The prosecution gets up and says their piece. And then the defense gets up and says their piece.
Agree to certain special conditions of probation that we asked him to adhere to, and that
2 things. One, the death of Thomas, that was part of this case, but they dismissed the murder charge against not just Thug, but other people. And so she wants the family member of Thomas to give an impact statement, and the judge denies that. And the prosecutor was asking for 45 years, 25 years in, 20 years on probation, and with all these conditions. But the problem is that you have a situation where just hours earlier, she was willing to give him just probation. How do you square that? You don't have any credibility with the court when you do that. Let's see what Thug's lawyer was asking for in his solicitation or recitation.
Many pieces of evidence, and then took liberty that is the state's theory. Mr. Williams has tendered a nolo contendere plea to the RICO conspiracy counts. I can see that.
Okay. All right, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. And Your Honor, I'll answer any of your questions, but the point I'm trying to make is 45 years to serve 25 years in prison, when just this morning, it was a probationary offer. It was a probationary offer. The state knows.
That is not lost on the court. A probationary, you go from 0 to, you got to serve 25 years in prison. How do you do that?
But they want to control. They have this theory of music, and they want to stop Mr. Williams from making music, from entertaining, just stop his life. That's just not right. And it's wrong of the district attorney in Fulton County to do that. If they offer probation, then he's not a 45 to serve 25 years in custody type of person. And he's certainly not the person that the state has stated in front of the court. What we're asking, Your Honor, on count 1, which is the RICO count, to accept the nolo contendere plea. Please sentence Mr. Williams to 20 years to serve 5 years in prison, commuted to time served. Mr. Williams has served, as I said, 22 and a half years. On count 56, Your Honor, that's the leadership of a gang, nolo plea, 20 years to serve 5 years, commuted to time served, consecutive to all other counts. On count 57, which is a gang count, Your Honor, not a leader, guilty plea, 20 years to serve 5 years commuted to time served concurrent with count 1. With regard to count 58, which is possession of, I believe it is marijuana with intent to distribute, 10-year sentence on probation concurrent with count 1. On count 59, which is violation Georgia Controlled Substance Act, possession of codeine with intent to distribute, 5 years on probation concurrent with count 1. On count 59, Your Honor, which is violation Georgia Controlled Substance Act, possession of cocaine, 3 years on probation concurrent with count 1. Count 61, 5 years of probation. It's a firearm count, consecutive to the other counts, consecutive to before count 56. And then count 62, 10 years to serve commuted to time served. That should be a total sentence, Your Honor, that we are respectfully requesting the court to consider. I believe it's 45 years to serve 5 years in prison, commuted to time served, 40 years on probation, credit for the time already served and community time served. As I said, after 3 years of probation, the probation becomes non-reporting. And after successful completion of 10 years on probation, the balance of the sentence be terminated. Mr. Williams asked the court for house arrest for 3 years as part of the sentence, but house arrest specifically defined that Mr. Williams will be in his home.
So he's asking for house arrest for 3 years. He's asking for 40 years of probation to be terminated after 10 if he successfully completes probation.
Okay.
That's common.
Yeah.
And now let's fast forward to see what.
Let's also take it in consideration too the fact that NBA YoungBoy was only on house arrest for like 2 years or something like that. Like he said, he wants 3 years of house arrest and an ankle monitor, meaning you can't go nowhere really. He wants 3 years. Okay.
What the judge actually does here, because I find the judge's remarks quite something.
I did more than anybody ever did from my side, but I understand, rap lyrics. I understand how it could be twisted. I understand what it could do to the mind of people. I understand all that. And I promise you, I'm 100% changing that. It's just, I'm older, I'm grown now, and it's just like, I'm smarter. It's more things to rap about. Like I've experienced a lot of good things. I experienced more bad things, but I experienced a lot of good things too. And anyway, I can go forever.
Well, I appreciate it. And I appreciate that you do realize how much of an impact you have on people. I mean, it's past your neighborhood. It's worldwide, especially young people. And having come up from where you came up from and living.
One of the things the judge does is gives kind of a speech, because it's not just for the person that's standing in front of you, it's for the general public as well. And so they give kind of a moralistic, you need to be a better person, you need to do this and that.
In and around that, that gangs are damaging to our community. And it may be that a whole lot of rap music and the rap industry is, honestly, it sounds like a modern day version of kind of WWE wrestling that used to be on television, where people would just get up and posture and act like they hated each other. And it may be that that's a lot of what.
So the judge seems really fucking naive here, honestly, when she sits there and talks about WWE, World Wide Wrestling, or WWF or whatever the hell it's called. Like, this is fake. So one of the things that the defense lawyer brought up was that the rap battles, and it's more like the WWE, the worldwide. One of the things the defense lawyer brought up was that this is, these rap battles, the lyrics, and the culture it's just like WWE, you know, like the wrestling, you know, which is just bullshit because, you know, we see people getting shot up. Lil Wayne's bus got shot up, riddled with bullets. We say Julio Fulio. I mean, and then they go back and forth with these diss tracks. And so the judge is talking about this as though it's, you know, it's not real. And it's just, we all know better, don't we?
And in the music industry with rap, but whether it is fake,
It ain't just rap. It's drill. And then, you know, and there's a big difference between just regular rap and drill.
whether it is fake or not,
Agreed.
it has tremendous impact on kids and young people who think this is cool. This is what I want to do. Look at him. He's a millionaire. I can do that by being, you know, a gangster in the streets. And that's not true. What you're likely to have happen to you if you're a gangster in the streets is you get shot, you get killed, or you get thrown in prison.
Facts.
Super facts.
Straight up facts.
All day.
I'm telling you, you know, the people who wind up like Mr. Williams are few and far fucking between.
I'm gonna tell you guys straight up. I don't really been doing too much talking today, but I always equated the street life like the NBA or like the rap game like the NBA. There's a million people that should be in the NBA, but there's things that happen in life, like maybe your bad home life, your grades weren't good enough, maybe you just weren't tall enough. Like, you know, there's lots of things that happen. There's a million people that should be in the NBA, just like there's a million people that should be millionaires in the rap game, but they went to jail or lost somebody or got unalived. Like there's a lot of stipulations, man. Things happen.
Point. You know, get your education. What do I tell you guys? What do I tell every one of you guys? Build your education, build your financial future, build your relationships with your woman, with your family, with your mom, with your brother, with your sister, and build those relationships. You got people dragging you down. You have to look over your shoulder because you just did something that the police are going to come. Don't be that guy, you know, and idolizing drill and
all right, y'all, I'm not gonna lie to you. The only reason I jumped on this actual channel right here for today, because I just wanted him to see if he was gonna echo my sentiments that this was a bad deal or he was gonna say that this was a good deal. So let's just go and fast forward to that part because he's doing a reaction and we already did our own reaction. So let's go ahead and get right here with it.
here's it's backloaded. So he's not out of the woods quite yet.
Told y'all.
So if he screws up on probation, he can do, you know, time on the stuff that's been probated, you know, in other words, probationary sentence, because you have time hanging over your head on these probated sentences. And then you're going to have to do this other 25 years after you're done with that other time. So that he's got an incentive to really watch his
6
P's and Q's, for lack of a better word.
So essentially, the total sentence is 40 years to serve the first 5 years in prison, but commuted to the time that you have already served, followed by 15 years on probation, followed then by backloaded 20 years, which can be served in custody and will be served in custody if you are not successful on your probation. If you are successful in completing your 15 years probation, that will be commuted to time served.
So essentially, on probation for 15 years, we got time on those counts that are being probated. In other words, you're on probation, but on those, there's time hanging over your head. So when you have 5 years on a 20-year sentence, you know, credit time served, but the rest to be probated, that means 15 years on count one that's probated. You screw up on probation, you can get 5, you know, you can do that 15 years. But on top of that, you're going to do that 20 years that she's backloading. Makes sense?
You are to remain on reporting status for the first half of your probation, active reporting for the first 7.5 years of your probation. And that is.
So that means you're on supervised probation for the first half of your probation. So in other words, You got to call in. You got
We already know
to
that.
OCGA
them up with all kinds of conditions.
is pursuant to OCGA 17-10-1 subsection 2, A2A. And Mr. Steele and Mr. Adams, in order to keep him on reporting status, there needs to be good cause shown. We all concede that good cause is shown here.
Stipulate.
All right, I appreciate that. Special conditions of your probation.
We already know the special conditions. He can see the certain people, blah, blah, blah. I just want to hear his reaction, what he
A
said.
common condition that
Census Bureau, it may change, but
that is not a common condition that you stay out of a particular area,
Right.
but it is in this case because it was such a infiltrated gang
figure
type
out
case.
what that is. For the first 10 years of your probation, subject to the following exceptions, you are permitted to be in the metro Atlanta area to attend any of your way that
I'll just kind of briefly summarize. When you're on probation, the court can impose conditions of your probation. And one of the things is 4 times a year, he's got to do anti-gun, anti-gang presentations, either to a school or a benefit concert, that kind of thing. And that can satisfy his community service. There's no contact with the gang members except for his brother, who they conceded was a gang member, or people that he's got a contractual obligation, like people that he's making music with. And I think that was a big stickler, my guess, is on the probationary things that they had, why they couldn't come to a deal.
Mm.
And here's the kicker: promotion of gang activity or gang speech or anything that has to do with gangs. This may really impact the way he has his music done in the future. But I guarantee you he's going to be singing about being in the jail cell. Because what do you think he knows about right now? I mean, that's fresh in his mind. I guess, guarantee you that's going to be in some of his future music. Random drug testing, waiver of searching his person or his premises for drugs. That's standard conditions. But the judge didn't impose some of the conditions that his own lawyer asked for, like home monitoring. No home monitoring was ordered.
Okay.
So really good day for the defense here. I think he got pretty much everything he wanted. No further prison time or jail time as long as he keeps his nose clean. Otherwise, he's looking at 40 plus years.
Thank you.
40 plus years. Can you imagine? I mean, how did the state go from 45 years to probation? It just seems to me that the state's case crumbled out from underneath it. So when you look at the sentence overall for a 32, 33-year-old man to get a 40 years sentence, that's essentially a life sentence. So it is, even though he's walking out today, it isn't like he's free. The government still has a hold on him. He's going to be on probation for 15 years. 7.5 is going to be supervised. 7.5 is going to be unsupervised. He can still move out to California. He can still perform and do whatever he's supposed to do, but he's going to have to be sober. How fucking hard is it for these guys to be sober? I mean, smoking weed is like in some people's DNA, and weed is so popular. And try to go to a concert and not smell some weed. I mean, honestly. So you're going to have that. My guess, he's probably going to have a doctor prescribe it for him because if a doctor prescribes it, you're going to be okay. So he's going to have to be sober. He's going to have to be law abiding. He can't be with any gang members unless they're in the exception. And he's going to have some limitations on his actual freedom, where he can go and when he can go there. So this is not just he walks, and if he screws up at all, he can go to prison for an awfully long time. So that's our update on the breaking news that Young Thug took a deal. He's been sentenced today, and we'll see you next time here in Criminally React.
That's it. Man, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. I took y'all down that rabbit hole so we could see him actually agree with me. I was personalizing because I knew I was right. But he said it was a good day for the defense. But what really actually stuck out to me is that he said Thug got everything he wanted, which is crazy because I'd have wanted more or less, depending on how you look at it. Let me know in the comments, man, if you think he can actually make it this whole 10 years at least on probation, being who he is and what he's been through and everything like that. Let me know. I hope he can make it. But like I said, it's not about him per se. It's about life and things that happen in life. The best thing that Young Thug could do in this situation is quit music. Just make money off the previous music, and maybe do some NBA Youngboy activity where he never tours, never performs. Like, just like make music, drop the album. Sit at home, make music, drop the album. That's it. Do a video from the house. That's it. Because that's the only way I can see you making it, big dog. I don't have high hopes with 15 years of probation. I've never seen anybody do 5. I remember people used to get 5 years, but I've never seen nobody make it. Not once in my entire life. So, like I said, I hope he makes it, man. But hey, if you made it this far, that means you put some paint where it ain't. And for that, you need to be thanked. So don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share to be aware. Put me in that algorithm because I need to be there, man. Because I know there's 10 other streamers out there doing it like me. But
Fuck that little 10.
I'm maxed out.